Good morning, my people. It is Wednesday, so it's time for our midweek pickup. I didn't really have a topic this week. With everything that's been going on for the past few weeks here in America, all the ignorance and negativity and destruction, media play, conventions that's going on right now. I kind of wanted to try and focus on not the negative in life right now, and get back to focusing on some positive aspects that we need right now. So, with that being said, I think today I'm going to talk about staying on track in a difficult storm. Everybody knows what's going on right now in our country. Everybody know what time it is. It's election time, so it's going to be a lot of negativity and mudslinging in the air. And those of us who are trying to build an empire or whatever, or just trying to stay on track, period, there's always going to be some type of distractions that's going to come in to kind of try and throw you off track. And what you have to understand is that these are things that's going to purposely come up. I'm not saying that things in the world are happening just to throw you off, but I guess you could say metaphorically speaking, and I've said this before, when you are going down a path, there are going to be different obstacles that's going to present itself, that's going to try and throw you off and try and defeat your goal. And the good thing that we all have to know how to do is block the certain things out that's going to bring us down, bring our spirits down, bring our levels down, so we can continue to focus on what we're trying to get accomplished. Or, especially with the things that's going on now, it's a lot of people that are kind of waking up right now and seeing the world for what it is. And even though that we all are seeing the world for what it is and seeing some people for who they really are, a lot of times you have to disconnect yourself from the negativity. And I know that a lot of people are saying, well, how am I going to do that when every time I either cut the TV on, it's there, or every time I get on social media, it's there? How am I going to bypass these things? And the question is, you're not going to bypass them. You're just going to have to learn how to work through them while they're going on, so it won't have this effect on you in life. Now, I have not been doing a good job at that myself, but I've come to the realization that that's something that I have to do. Um, I care a lot about people, situations, and things that are going on. So even if somebody is somebody that I don't know, if somebody's life is taken away, I'm gonna feel a certain way about that, because I tend to think a little bit deeper into it. I think about children that are involved, parents that are involved. What's going to happen if their children are young at this point in time where this person's life has been taken. Just the things that a child is going to have to go through to try and cope with that type of thing. That's all the things that I'm thinking about. And sometimes we tend to, or I know I do, tend to add a little bit more stress than we should be adding to ourselves. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying ignore those type of things, or I'm not saying that those things aren't important, but sometimes you really have to look at the situation for what it is, especially if it's something that can eventually either slow you down or sidetrack you or whatever. You have to know that of course, this is going on, and you have to be aware of it, because for us who have children, we have to explain to our children what's going on, explain to them how to try to avoid certain situations. It's almost like modern day slavery, but with freedom involved, I guess you could say. But we have to learn to not let those type of things destroy our motivation, destroy our drive, and that's been a lot of what's been happening here lately. Because sometimes when you see something so negative so many times, you start looking for that instead of looking for the positive aspect. The cycle has been going on for a long time. I know a lot of people would say, hey, this is just life. Things like this have been going on forever, which they have been going on forever. But when you get a certain age in life, it starts to affect you differently than it would have affected you when you were young and not aware of how things go or have been going or have gone in the past. So once you get a little bit older and you really can understand what's going on, yes, it's going to affect you in a different way. And then you're going to see a lot of leaves start falling off your tree, if you will. Another thing that we have to do to make sure that we stay on track is sometimes you have to work on yourself, by yourself, and for yourself in order to get to where you need to get to. Now, I say that because a lot of people think that, somebody's acting funny or whatever the case may be. But sometimes you just have to have the time for you in order for you to get right so you can, achieve what you're trying to do. It's not that you're trying to cut people off or whatever. And it's not that you're trying to be quote unquote mean to somebody. It's just that, sometimes in order to get yourself in order, you have to distance yourself from some of the bullcrap that you usually would be entertained with, I guess you could say, and focus on getting your goals accomplished. Now, a lot of people aren't going to understand that, and the people who don't understand that, maybe they don't need to be in your life anyway, because sometimes some people want you to stay at a certain level in life that they're comfortable with, that they like you at, in order for them to feel good about themselves. So, you always have to, it's almost like now life, everything is something that you have to kind of strategically kind of plan out or whatever. And if you don't plan it correctly, then you're going to go backwards 2 or 3 steps. And that's not the goal that we're trying to do. We're trying to go forward 5 steps instead of going backward any step. So, yeah, sometimes you have to cut certain things out, especially people who continue to fill your head with stories, lies, especially when you can look them in their eye and you know that they're lying. In order to get through to people like that, sometimes you just have to tell them, hey, bruh, look, I know that you lying, fool. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to lie to me. And a lot of people really don't understand that. You may have friends that you say, man, this dude lie all the time, and this girl is always lying or whatever. But sometimes they're not just lying to you to throw you off. Sometimes they have to lie to themselves to make themselves look better than what they really actually are at that point. And you got to put your glasses on and you got to see that. And sometimes you just got to, give space to that type of stuff. The main goal that I want everybody to understand is before you can truly help someone, you have to be able to truly help yourself and get yourself in the right position for you to be helping some other person. I have been working on that for a while. I still try and talk through that because I let my experiences and things that I've gone through in life, I try and put it out there. So if somebody else is coming up on a situation similar, they can be like, hey, I remember he said this or whatever. Maybe if I try and approach it the way that he said he wished he would have approached it, then maybe I can get through it better or whatever. So again, that's why I do this. But we all have to know and all have to realize that only person that can put you in a rut is you. Only person that can get you out of a rut is you. So with that being said, you have to know who you're defending against, who's worth putting up the fight for, and what is it going to really benefit you in either keeping or cutting a person loose that is sucking away your drive, that's keeping you where you need to be. Now, I know you're going to be like, well, how can a person keep me where I need to be when you just said that only you could put yourself in a rut? It's a good question, but the answer is even easier. You allow yourself to be involved in ignorance and non-growing factors, then you're putting yourself in that rut. So yes, it is about who you have around you, but it's also about you. So the choices that you make are always going to have an effect on you. The people that you have around you are always going to have an effect on you. But the only person who is going to have the most definite effect on you is you. So you have to recognize everything around you, and you have to recognize what's going to make you better and what's going to make you worse. And when you realize that, it'll be easier to go and do what you need to do to become better versus then doing the same thing over and over again. And habits are repetition. So you form a habit, but do you want to form good habits or do you want to stay forming bad habits? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. With that being said, I'm going to go on and wrap it up. I hope everybody has a good week. Don't let the evils of the world keep you down. Always know that you have your own personal sunshine, and there's also things around you too that can give you joy, like your children, your wife, certain family members or whatever. But always keep the good around you, because you always want more good around you than negative. Because when you have more negative around you than good, then you start being negative, and then it's an infection that spreads, or not only to the people that's around you, but just spreads, period. So with that being said, everybody have a great day. I will see y'all next week. It'll be the first week in August. Everybody, keep God first, family second, everything else will follow. I will see y'all next week on the Midweek Pickup. Peace.